Hey guys, welcome to the video. Thanks for joining today. I'm going to start a new series, a training series. I'm calling it 500 miles until ARFTA, or a race for the ages. A little bit of background. A race for the ages is a race I've really wanted to do for some time now. It is a Lazarus Lake race. Laz is famous for putting on the Barkley marathons, and he's the one that started which is a really tough navigational race. Very tough terrain that you do through Frozen Head State Park in Tennessee. It was inspired by James Earl Ray's attempted escape from the Frozen Head State Prison, or it's not actually called Frozen Head State Prison, but the prison that's in Frozen Head State Park back in the 70s, where he was a notorious killer who escaped, and from the prison that they thought was impossible to escape from, he escaped and was in those woods and got turned around and lost, and they found him like a week later, and he had not made it out of the Frozen Head State Park. So Laz puts on a race there that's very difficult. They've been doing it for over 30 years and only have 20 something finishers. He calls it 100 miles, but they say it's probably more like 130, and you have to figure out your route and find books along the way. Anyway, it's an amazing thing. If you haven't watched the documentaries on it, there's some documentaries on YouTube that are pretty awesome. Anyway, he puts on that race. He's also the one that came up with the backyard ultra concept, where you're running 4.16 whatever miles every hour on the hour, and you go until there's only one finisher left. It's really taken off as a phenomenon over the last 10 years, and there's people running these races worldwide, and if they win certain races and qualify, they get into the Backyard Ultra Championship, which is held in Laz's backyard in Tennessee, Bell Buckle, Tennessee, every year. And there are people now that have gone 4 plus close to 5 days straight doing 4.16 miles every hour. So there's a lot of strategy of trying to finish the loop fast so you can get a little bit of sleep, or finish it slow and conserve your energy. Anyway, it's a very fascinating format. Gary Cantrell, who goes by Lazarus Lake, came up with a lot of these concepts, which is pretty cool. Anyway, so this race I'm wanting to do is one he started back in 2015. It's another novel concept. He wanted to have a race where a lot of his old ultra running buddies could still be somewhat competitive, even though they're getting up in age and they're having trouble hitting cutoffs. So he puts on what he calls a race for the ages. It's a fixed timed race on a 1 mile loop. If you're 40 or under, you get 40 hours to complete it. If you're over that, you get 1 hour per every hour you are old. He was looking at age group records over the years and figured out that was a pretty good way to even things up. And in the race's 11-year history or so, they've had winners that have been in their 40s and winners that have been, I think, in their 80s even. Someone won. So it does seem to equalize the field some. Anyway, it's something I've been wanting to do. I'm not in real good shape right now. I'm really struggling in the heat right now. For some of you it'll sound really hot, some of you it won't, but we're not having a lot of 100-degree days here in North Texas, but we're having a lot that are 95 to 98 degrees for highs. but we're having lots of humidity too. So wake up in the morning and it's probably in the low 80s, but there's usually like 70 or 80% humidity, so it's just like a steam bath. The humidity does drop during the day, but then you're out in the hotter sun and there's still some humidity. Anyway, I'm really struggling. But I decided I don't really want to put off doing this race any longer. It's the first weekend in September, so over Labor Day weekend. So about 10 days ago, I think it was on the 28th of June, I decided to sign up. So I'm signed up. I think my race starts on the Friday night before Labor Day, so I think that's September 4th. Based on the race ends at 1 p.m. on Labor Day, Monday Labor Day the 7th. So my start time is 9 p.m. on Friday the 4th. I've decided to do it, and even though I may have to walk, well, I know I'll be walking quite a bit, I've decided to train for it. And the fact that my running is not going well and it's hot, I came up with a goal to do several miles a day of running and or walking. I figured out that if I do about 8 miles per day, that's 56 miles, and I had like 9 weeks to train. So that's about 500 miles. So since I'm starting this training, that's 500 miles until a race for the ages. So I started on June 29th. I like doing my training weeks Monday through Sunday. I seem to get less variability because I don't know which day I'm going to do my longer run on the weekend. So anyway, this week I started this past week on June 29th. On the 29th, I walked a total of 8.2 miles. On Tuesday the 30th, I ran 3.1 miles and I walked 7.1. Wednesday, July 1st, I walked 8.2 miles. You can see I'm walking a ton this week, but Thursday, I ran 5.67. That included a 2.5 mile run in the morning, and then I went to a little unofficial 5K that a friend of mine, Ross, is putting on Thursday nights. I did that, and then I walked a little bit more. So on Thursday, I ended up with 5.67 miles running and 3 miles walking. Friday, I had planned to do more running on the weekend, on Friday, Saturdays, but I came down a little bit under the weather. I had like a swollen lymph node and an earache, and I just did not feel good running. So on Friday, I just walked 6 miles. Saturday, I walked 9.2, and a good bit of that was on the treadmill. Sunday, I ran 2.1, and then I walked 6.6. But the mileage was really heavily walked based, but I did at least get in my targets. I have my grand totals for the week of running 10.91 and walking 48.34 for a 59.25 mile week. So that's how I finished up. So I'm happy with that. I'm hoping I'll be running more this week. Just up it each week, but regardless if I can get out there moving, it's going to help me for the race for the ages where I have 63 hours. Plan now is I'm actually going to get a hotel close by. I'm hoping to go take some naps during the day when it's really hot and try to get as many miles as I can. Anyway, it should be a good attempt. I'm really looking forward to it because there's a couple of friends of mine from Texas that are going to be out there doing it. Nicole and Bill. I know Clint Burleson, who's from New Mexico, that's going to be there. And then I'm looking forward to meeting like Harvey Lewis, a famous from Backyard fame who held the world record in that, is going to be there, and Trayson's going to be there. So I'm really looking forward to meeting her. And Scott Coomer, who I've met once, that does the 10 Junk Miles podcast, and I met him at the Badger a couple years ago. He's supposed to be back there doing one of his return to racing events, so I'm hoping he makes it. He's coming back from a knee injury. Anyway, so it should be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. I will update y'all again next week on my progress. If you like the video, please consider hitting the thumbs up. If you're interested in following along with this training series, please consider subscribing to my channel. Other than that, I hope you're having a wonderful day. And keep moving.